What the Most Successful People Do on the Weekend by Laura Vanderkam. Let me tell you about Mike Huckabee. You know him, right? The politician, the news host, the guy who took a shot at being president. His schedule is absolutely bonkers. 3 hours of daily radio, traveling every Thursday for his TV show, taping on Saturdays. That's 6 days a week of pure hustle. You'd think by the time his one day off rolls around, he'd be a puddle on the couch, right? Like, barely alive, just breathing, and maybe occasionally reaching for the remote. But here's where it gets interesting. The secret to how he survives this madness isn't hidden in his crazy work week. It's in his Sundays. He's up at 6 in the morning to exercise, goes to church with his wife, spends the afternoon on the beach, just soaking in the sound of the waves. Then in the evening, he's firing up the grill, cooking dinner for friends. His day off is actually packed, structured, intentional, and weirdly enough, that's exactly where his energy comes from. Kind of mind-bending, isn't it? The idea that real rest doesn't come from having zero structure, but from having the right kind of structure. That's the world Laura Vanderkam opens up in her brilliant book, What the Most Successful People Do on the Weekend. She's spent years studying incredibly busy, accomplished people, and what she's discovered is pretty revolutionary. Our weekends aren't just recovery time. They're actually the launchpad for a successful, joyful life. Today, we're diving into the principles from this game-changing book. By the time we're done, you'll understand why doing nothing can actually be the most exhausting thing you can do, and you'll have real tools to transform those precious 60 hours between Friday evening and Monday morning from a disappointing blur into your greatest source of power and rejuvenation. For most of us, the weekends with this enormous sigh of relief, thank God it's Friday. We picture the weekend stretching out ahead, this beautiful blank canvas of freedom and possibility. We're going to catch up on rest, maybe tackle a project or two, have some actual fun. But then how often does that dream turn into this familiar disappointment? The weekend just evaporates in a haze of errands, mindless chores, and way too many hours scrolling through our phones or watching shows we didn't even really want to watch. And before you know it, that awful feeling creeps in. The Sunday night blues. You're staring down another Monday morning, feeling just as wiped out as you were on Friday, with this nagging sense that your most precious time just slipped away like sand through your fingers. Sound familiar? You're definitely not alone. It's the great weekend trap of our time. We think that because our weeks are so structured and demanding, our weekends need to be the complete opposite, totally unstructured and spontaneous. We convince ourselves that the antidote to exhaustion is doing nothing. But here's the first big insight from the book. In our hyper-connected world, nothing doesn't actually exist. Time, just like nature, hates a vacuum. If you don't decide what to do with your time, something else will grab it. And that something else is rarely what feeds your soul. Nothing today means hours melting into the couch, lost in the digital fog. It's leisure that drains you instead of energizing you, and busy work that isn't even productive. It's basically a recipe for regret. The most successful people get this. They've figured out what Mike Huckabee knows instinctively. Your free time is way too valuable to just wing it. To genuinely rest and recharge, you need to treat your weekend with intention. You have to schedule your off-the-grid time as deliberately as you schedule your on-the-grid time. This brings us to this powerful concept the author calls active rest. Think about marathon runners in training. Their plan isn't just run, then collapse on the couch. The smart ones do something called cross-training. Biking, swimming, stuff that works different muscles. This kind of active rest prevents injuries, fights burnout, and actually makes them stronger runners than if they'd just kept pounding the pavement. Same principle applies to our lives. The best way to recover from one type of work isn't to stop all work, it's to do a different kind of work. Your brain, your soul, your spirit, they all need to cross-train. If your job keeps you glued to a desk, doing mental gymnastics all day, The best recharge won't come from becoming one with your couch all weekend. It'll come from something active, something creative, something that lights up a different part of you. The book is packed with great examples. There's Ted Devine, a CEO who recharges by coaching youth hockey. Out on the ice, he's completely present, tapping into an entirely different energy than his boardroom self. Then there's Marcus Samuelsson, this world-famous chef who spends his weekends playing soccer with friends. It's his way of blowing off steam and connecting with people outside the pressure cooker of his kitchen. And Bill McGowan, a TV correspondent, finds his zen by chopping wood. It's physical, tangible, and a million miles away from the abstract stress of his job. For all of them, these aren't chores. They're labors of love, of passion, of connection, activities that actually refill their tanks. The key is swapping the work you have to do for the work you want to do. So the question becomes, how do we find these restorative activities and actually make them happen? That brings us to the second pillar of a successful weekend, the surprising power of anticipation. Imagine you want a free dinner at some fancy French restaurant. When they ask when you'd like to book your table, would you want to go right this second? Probably not. A study found that most people given this choice wanted to wait over a week. Why? Because they wanted to savor it. They wanted the joy of looking forward to it. Psychologists have discovered that a huge chunk of the happiness we get from experiences doesn't come from the actual event, but from anticipating it. Think about Christmas morning. The actual present opening might last an hour, but the magic of seeing those gifts under the tree can last for weeks. This fascinating study of Dutch vacationers proved the point. Researchers found that travelers' biggest happiness boost didn't come after their trip, or even during it. The peak happiness hit in the weeks before the vacation, as they imagined all the sights and experiences to come. This is incredible when you think about it. It means that simply by planning a few enjoyable things for your weekend ahead of time, you get to experience the joy twice. You get the pleasure of anticipation all week, and then you get the pleasure of actually doing them. If you wait until Saturday morning to figure things out, you're robbing yourself of this powerful, completely free source of happiness. That's why a good weekend needs a plan, not some rigid minute-by-minute spreadsheet. That would be exhausting. Instead, the author suggests this simple, elegant approach. Schedule just 3 to 5 anchor events across your entire weekend. These are your big rocks, your main events to look forward to. 3 events of 3 hours each is only 9 hours out of your 36 waking weekend hours. That leaves tons of room for spontaneity, for chilling out, for following your mood in the moment. But these anchors give your weekend shape and purpose. They guarantee you'll do something memorable, something that actually rejuvenates you. So what could these anchor events be? This is where it gets fun. The author introduces this wonderful exercise called the List of 100 Dreams. It's basically a brainstorming session where you write down anything and everything you might want to do or have in your life. The first few might be big stuff, like see the pyramids in Egypt. But as you keep going, you'll start coming up with smaller, more doable sources of joy that make perfect weekend anchors. Your list might include things like going for a long run on a scenic trail, trying that new restaurant everyone's raving about, hosting game night with friends, taking the family to a museum or local park, hitting up the farmer's market, or taking a class to learn something new. This list becomes your personal weekend treasure chest. On a Thursday or Friday evening, you can sit down, maybe with your family or partner, look at your list, and pick out a few gems to anchor your weekend. Maybe one for Friday night, one for Saturday afternoon, one for Saturday night, and one for Sunday. Research shows certain types of activities give us the biggest happiness bang for our buck. A study of working women in Texas found they were happiest when exercising, doing spiritual activities, and socializing. So a smart strategy is trying to include one anchor event from each category in your weekend. Maybe a hike with a friend on Saturday, a visit to your place of worship Sunday morning, and a family dinner Sunday evening. Of course, even with the best plans, life throws curveballs. There are always the have-to-dos threatening to hijack our weekends, chores, errands, and work that follows us home like a shadow. Successful people don't ignore these things. They manage them strategically. Let's start with chores. The big problem with chores is they expand like a gas to fill whatever space you give them. If you dedicate your entire Saturday to getting things done, you'll somehow find that cleaning and errands devour the whole day. The solution? Compress them. Set aside a small, specific window, say 90 minutes Saturday morning. By creating a boundary, you become way more efficient. You hustle to get it done so you can move on to the fun stuff you've planned. And when you spot a dirty floor at another time, you can tell yourself, there's a time for cleaning floors, and this ain't it. The other big weekend invader is work. In our always-on culture, the temptation to check email is constant. To fight this, the book suggests rediscovering a timeless idea, the Sabbath. You don't have to be religious to appreciate the wisdom of carving out dedicated time for rest, a real break from work and technology. The book shares this incredible story of Rena Sack, a partner at a major accounting firm. She's an Orthodox Jew and observes the Sabbath from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, meaning she's completely offline and unreachable. In her high-pressure field, people routinely work 7 days a week during busy season. But Rena never did. And here's the amazing part. She didn't get less done. She actually got more done than her peers. How's that possible? Because she knew her time was limited. When she was at work, she was laser-focused. No time to waste, because at 4:30 on Friday, she was out the door. That enforced break made her more productive during the week and let her come back Sunday fully recharged. It also forced a different kind of family connection. With no screens, they had to spend that time together, talking, playing, strengthening their relationships. You can create your own version of a tech Sabbath. Maybe it's for 24 hours, or maybe just Saturday afternoon. The point is creating deliberate space free from your inbox, where your mind can wander, relax, and reconnect with the world around you. Now we get to what might be the single most important secret in the entire book, a technique for conquering the Sunday night blues and winning the week before it even starts. The dread of Monday morning often starts casting its shadow early Sunday afternoon, slowly sucking the joy out of what's left of your weekend. The solution? Schedule something genuinely fun and rewarding for Sunday evening. By planning a positive anchor event for Sunday night, you extend the weekend. You keep your mind focused on the fun ahead instead of Monday's stress. It could be a regular family dinner, like one woman in the book whose extended family gets together every Sunday. Could be a yoga class, like the TV producer who uses it to sweat out the week's toxins and center herself for Monday. Could even be volunteering. Nothing puts your own work stress in perspective like helping people who are struggling. This simple shift transforms Sunday night from an ending into a celebration and a launch. And then, after the fun's over, you do one final, powerful ritual. You take just 15 or 20 minutes to plan your week ahead. This isn't about creating some rigid schedule. It's about looking at the next 168 hours and asking yourself, what are the most important things I want to accomplish? The author, drawing on Stephen Covey's work, suggests thinking about your different life roles, your career, your relationships, and yourself. What are one or two key priorities in each area for the coming week? Maybe for your career, it's finish the big project proposal. For relationships, it's have a date night with my partner. For yourself, it's hit the gym 3 times. Then you take these priorities and block them into your calendar first, before the week fills up with everyone else's demands. This simple act of Sunday night planning means you hit Monday morning with purpose and control. You're not just reacting to the week, you're commanding it. You're putting first things first. When you combine all these principles, active rest, the power of anticipation, anchor events, strategic management of the have-to-dos, and winning Sunday night, something magical happens. Your weekends stop being a source of frustration. They become a masterpiece of your own design, a powerful engine for a life filled with success, joy, and meaning. The author ends with this beautiful and kind of sobering thought. If you live to be 80 years old, you'll have a grand total of 4,160 weekends. That's it. They pass whether we think about how to spend them or not. It's so easy to tell ourselves we'll do the fun, adventurous, meaningful things next weekend, when we're less tired, less busy. But time isn't infinite. She asks a simple, profound question that sticks with you long after finishing the book. What are you saving your energy for? This is all there is. So make a fuss. Make a show. Spend your energy now. Because a life well lived isn't built in some far-off future. It's built in the small, precious, powerful weekends we're given, one at a time. As I think about the wisdom in this book, what strikes me most is how empowering it is. It gives us back control. It's so easy to feel like our weekends just happen to us, that we're victims of our exhaustion, our chores, the endless demands on our time. But Laura Vanderkam gently and persuasively reminds us that time is a choice. Every hour is a choice. We're not passive victims of our calendars. We're the architects of our lives. The most profound lesson for me is shifting from viewing the weekend as passive recovery time to seeing it as active rejuvenation. This idea of cross-training for life is a total game changer. It explains why binge-watching a show can leave us feeling more drained than before, while spending 3 hours gardening or playing a sport leaves us energized and alive. We're not designed to be passive. We're built to engage, to create, to connect. When we honor that, we tap into this limitless source of energy. This book isn't about cramming more onto your plate or creating a weekend so packed it feels like another work week. It's about being intentional, about choosing quality over quantity, about recognizing that a weekend with just a few well-chosen, anticipated events can be infinitely more restoring than a weekend of aimless, unstructured nothingness. If you're ready to start applying these ideas, here are 3 simple actions you can take this week. First, schedule one anchor event. Just one. Look at the coming weekend and plan something you'll genuinely look forward to. Could be a walk somewhere you love, coffee with a good friend, or a trip to the bookstore. Put it on your calendar and give yourself the gift of anticipation. Second, start your 100 dreams list. Don't stress about getting to 100 right away. Just open a notebook or a file on your computer and start writing. What are the things, big and small, that would bring you joy? This isn't a to-do list. It's a possibility list. Let it inspire you. Third, reclaim your Sunday night. Plan something enjoyable for this coming Sunday evening. Doesn't have to be elaborate. Could be as simple as making popcorn and watching a favorite movie with your family, or having a long phone call with someone you love. Transform the end of your weekend from a countdown to Monday into a final, happy memory. That was a summary of what the most successful people do on the weekend by Laura Vanderkam. We've explored the core ideas together today, but I want to be honest with you. A summary is like looking at a travel brochure for a beautiful country. You can see the pictures, read about the landmarks, but you can't truly experience the magic until you go there yourself. The real value of this book is in how its stories and simple truths settle into your mind as you read. This summary is a map, but the book is the journey. If any part of our conversation today sparked something in you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it is an investment in your most precious, non-renewable resource, your time. The link to the book is in the description. Also, if you found this summary helpful and want to keep exploring ideas from the world's most impactful books, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Billionaire's Bookshelf. It helps us grow this community, and make sure you won't miss our next adventure into another life-changing book. Let's keep learning and growing together.